Right,
Chris
we're in.
confirms. Now it's on video.
Okay. Okay, right. Can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see the weapon reset blueprint 3-day?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
sweet. I don't really
Yes,
like.
mate.
I don't really like talking about myself because I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, look at me, look at what I've done. But I feel like it's important to pass this message on because I've gone through my journey. And then what I've tried to do with this presentation is not do a death by PowerPoint because no one likes that. It's more like these are the struggles that I face. These are the things that I've done. How can we relate that to you? And then after that, we can go into a little bit of like beliefs. More importantly, like a roadmap, how you guys can then sort of relate that to your life, if that makes sense. And then from there, because it might be a bit information overload, from there, I'll explain a little bit about my blueprint, my coaching process, like how I do things, whatever. And then I'll send you an email after this with one task that you have to do that should make a difference, because it's made a difference, massive difference in my life, and it should make a difference in your life. So I'm going to crack on. This is all about you guys unlocking the potential that you know you have. Right, let's start then. About me. Okay, before I joined the military, before I joined the Marines, I was a nobody. Like, I literally was destined for averageness. I knew I didn't fit in. I was depressed, I was anxious, drugs and alcohol. I know some people in this room probably be the same, like 100%. And then it's just about like, well, for me, I just had to do something hard. Like, I had to do something that was super hard. So I found the military and I found the Marines in particular. And then basically with like zero encouragement from anyone, my parents didn't really want me to join. I just decided, do you know what, fuck it, let's go for it. So I joined, and this is a picture of me in training. Hardest thing I've ever done, obviously. There was 37 lads that started, 6 passed out. This was obviously like in July 2016. And I think the statistic is like 1% of lads who actually go to the AFCO actually make it to be a Royal Marine. So thankfully I did. I didn't really train properly beforehand, somehow managed to get through. Literally just, I promised myself I wouldn't give up. Like, I just literally promised myself that even if I was failing, they would have to forcefully remove me from training. That's how obsessed I was. And that's how obsessed you need to be to join the Royal Marines. But anyway, so yeah, that was like a hard 8 months. Very, very hard. And then after that, I didn't actually do a lot for my depression and anxiety, which we'll come on to a little bit later. But basically, yeah, okay, training is like the hard part, but sometimes you think that that's like the end, and then you pass it and you're like, oh, life's good now. And then for me, it wasn't. I was still depressed, still anxious, still wasn't happy after getting my green beret. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but it's tucked into my belt loop there. And yeah, of course, it was like a really, really hard job. I pretty much didn't enjoy it for the first 4 years, but I just tried as hard as I possibly could in the hopes that at some point in my life, the pain will be over and I would have made it. And it's just about doubling down and redoubling efforts again and again and again. Using my skill set, I joined 4 other bootnecks to climb Mont Blanc. Unfortunately, one guy didn't make it to the top because he was getting frostnip in his hands. But, you know, using our skill set and the determination and stuff that you have, that you require by doing hard things, it allows you to do hard things like on Mont Blanc. Also, within my first year of passing the Royal Marines, I went on my first operation deployment, which was a humanitarian aid disaster relief operation. Does everyone remember the Hurricane Irma that struck the Caribbean islands back in 2017? Does anyone remember that?
Rings a bell, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, we went there afterwards, after the aftermath, and it was pretty horrendous. But anyway, moving on. So this is probably a big slide. I finally felt like I made it. Mac, who's just joined, I don't know if he's listening, but Max was actually in my squadron with me in this, and it was super cool. We did lots of cool stuff, lots of good work around the world. I finally felt like I made it here. Okay, I was working towards now training for Special Forces selection. I joined one of the best squadrons in the Royal Marines. We were doing parachuting and fast roping out of helicopters and planes, wet at night in the Arctic Circle. We worked with SEAL Team 2. We did loads of cool stuff, constantly on the ranges, advanced reconnaissance, surveillance, advanced weapon drills, underwater knife fighting, whatever you like. We were doing it. It was awesome. Absolutely loved it. I was like, we're on the up. And then, without going into too much detail of this, because this is, I could probably stand here and talk for like a month about this, but I'm trying to build a picture of like, just keep going, right? Depressed, miserable, anxious, whatever. Keep going. This is like the good stuff. Super, super good. And then the next slide, I lost everything. Everything fell apart. So in my journey, I was training for the Special Forces for 2 years, and I started and I failed within the first week, and that absolutely crushed me. And then at the time, I was aiming for promotion within the Royal Marines as well, and kind of got promised it, like heard that I was going to get it, whatever, and didn't get it. So again, expectations versus reality, crushed by that. I also broke up with my missus at this time, and then also all while this was going on, my car obviously broke down, which was like the last thing that I needed at the time. And then also my best mate that I was living with, he moved out to go traveling, so I lost the flat that I was living in, which I loved, and I had to move back into the military barracks. So basically, yeah, not good. Everything sort of fell apart. It was kind of like, it was my own perceived rock bottom, this. But then going into a little bit more mindset, how this relates to like, you know, people's journeys and stuff. When I was literally on my knees in that flat, the last time I ever left it, I was on my knees, just like in this empty flat, just like, oh my God, I feel like I've just lost absolutely everything. And I literally thought in the back of my head, if you're at rock bottom now, Joe, then the only way is up. Because it's true, isn't it? If you are at rock bottom, then the only way is up. And that's a key thing that I wanted to put across on this. And then going into the next chapter, this is like another rebuild, essentially. So you can see that I've gone from down to up, to down to up, right? This bit was, what do I want to do with my life here, right? Obviously carry on. Obviously never give up, just change course, right? So I came up with a new plan. I was like, I'm still gonna obviously be a professional soldier and try as hard as I can in the Marines, but I want to leave. So this picture taken was me being as professional as I possibly could, obviously without, I mean, the backwards Arc'teryx cap with the Ray-Ban sunglasses firing an American M4, you wouldn't necessarily call that professional. But what I mean is just being a good all-round soldier, even though I had my notice in to leave, and I was like, I'm just going to change course. I don't want to be in the military when I'm 30 years old or in my 30s. I want to pursue a different passion. I want to have not a plan B. I don't really like plan Bs, right? It was a plan Z at this point. I don't know if anyone's heard of a plan Z, but basically there's this guy at the Commander Training Center of Royal Marines, and I spoke to him on the phone, and he was like, this was at the time that I wanted to go on Special Forces selection. He was like, you should have a plan Z, right? Plan Z is like just as good as plan A, but it's completely different. So I worked on that. I then trained to become a coach. I got all my accreditations for it as I was leaving. And then this was within the last year of my career. So basically these two pictures sort of like summarize me leaving and becoming a coach. But in the last year that I was in the Marines, the last couple of years I was in the Marines, I was then sort of the PTI, if you like, of my team within the squadron. So super professional squadron. I just basically volunteered, said to my team leader, I was like, why don't I just do phys for everyone? Because I'm trained now, just to like get my foot in the door and train people. So being a Royal Marine, training other Royal Marines as like a in-team physical training instructor was like a big thing. And it was quite an honor to do that, which was awesome. But anyway, there's my testimonial. If anyone wants to read that in more detail, give me a message, I'll send it over to you. But yeah, so from Royal Marine to Coach Joe, I guess. And And I guess this is where I really discovered my unwavering passion for human performance and what we're all capable of. Okay, lots of people message me on the internet and they're like, oh, do you do fitness programs? And I'm like, brother, 1 hour in the gym is like 4% of your day. Like, what about the other 96%? It's like an all-encompassing thing. It's like, yeah, it's your body, but it's also your mind. And it's also how you sleep and like how you take risks, for example. And like, no other coach is really doing this online. So that's why I kind of, you know, came into the space and did that. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Right. Then the next few pages is going to be like, who is this absolute reprobate showing us pictures of him topless? Basically, what I want to do is put across how the blueprint that I've created is like, I've run it on myself like for years and I've refined it and stuff. So I'm just like, what I'm going to try and put across now is like, this is what happens when you do hard things and like commit to things. Picture of me on the left, depressed, anxious, miserable, right? And then that was June 2020. And then this is June 2025, the two pictures on the right. So 5 years difference. In between those 5 years, this is a key point. This is actually a key point to take away with you guys, right? If you are in this position. If you are depressed and anxious and you know that you have got an issue with that and you are struggling with it, go and seek professional help. That is like free life coaching advice from me. Like, I will hold you accountable to going to get therapy. It literally changed my entire life. Professional therapy. It was amazing. And then also just obviously spending money on yourself, just being healthy, like body wise. So that's like the mind and the body. That was a big thing though. Like, going to therapy was honestly one of the best things that I've done, if not probably the best thing I've ever done. And then this is like the result of like investing into your health. This is a result of like digging out blind. This is a result of, you know, showing up when you don't feel like it. That's another key thing. So, oh, I hate gobbling off about this stuff, but okay, I did a Spartan race and I came first in my wave, and I had like a pretty good performance. I've never done an obstacle course race before in my entire life. I guess transferable skill. You do a little bit of this in Marines training. So, yeah, I guess that was like technically not the first time, but technically the first time. And then for the first time, tried martial arts. Did that for 9 months. Did a Muay Thai fight and won it, which was awesome. Haven't actually done any Muay Thai since because I don't think I like it. It took me 9 months to realize I didn't like it. But that's like the power of just like, I'm just going to do a fight and then just sticking with it, even though you're like miserable. Half marathon with no training, sub 1 hour 40. I was an absolute clip after that because we started at 3 a.m. Did an ultra after that, after 6 weeks of training, marathon time in 3 hours 51. And then also concurrently to that, it's not just like show muscles. Like, this is like real strength, like 60 kilo dips, 50 kilo pull-ups, 120 kilo bench, and all the rest of it. And then aside from all the physical stuff, mental stuff, risk taking, mindset, right? This is me packing up all of my stuff that I wanted to take with me to Thailand in one bag. I put all of that stuff there in one bag. And then I was just like, do you know what? There's seldom been times in my life, and I hope that you guys can take something away from this as well, right? There's been seldom times in my life where I haven't gone and taken a massive risk and it's paid off, because I genuinely believe, right? And this is like deep set ideology from me, is you should be, as blokes, taking huge risks, right? Take a risk, and like people around you are like flapping for you. Like people around you are like, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you can't do that. No one does that. You're not normal. You're crazy. And you go, yeah, okay, sound, whatever. Ignore the noise. And then you go back home that evening, and you can go into a dark room and go, fuck. What have I done? What have I done? I've taken this massive risk. You know, what can you do? What you can do is work so hard to mitigate that risk that it ends up paying off. Don't give yourself a safety net. Seriously, I didn't give myself a safety net joining the Royal Marines, it was the only option I had. I didn't give myself a safety net becoming an online coach. It was the only option I had. If you only give yourself that one option, then guess what? You have to do that thing. It's like mind games with yourself. But, you know, take massive risks and then just literally outwork, just mitigate that risk. But I've taken this massive risk, right? What can I do to make it so that I'm not going to fail? And then just dedicate so many hours towards that there's no option for you to fail, basically. And here's some testimonials from some of the lads that I've trained. Probably a key one is Ash on the top left, and also in the middle. He was actually on antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication and hadn't run for about 5 years. And we got training together for 6 months, and he had ditched all of his medication and signed up to the London Marathon. Just in those 6 months that we spent together. So that was pretty good. And you can also see like energy. If you foundational my blueprint is like sleep, basically. And I've heard a lot from current clients, potential clients, people on the internet being like, I'm tired. The world is designed in a way to make you tired so that you eat junk food. Like Netflix literally came out and said, we are declaring war on sleep. Right? I think that personally should be illegal, because sleep is literally the foundation of human performance, which is why Matt, bottom middle, has said, I think sleep habits have been the biggest impact for me. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Right. Has anyone got any beliefs? Does anyone want to jump in now? And has anyone found themselves saying, I don't have time, I don't have motivation, or I feel tired all the time, or whatever? And it's not to like call you out or anything. It's like, I'm genuinely here to help. If not, I'll just crack on. Okay, sweet, I'll crack on. Right, this is where I really want to help you guys out, right? This might not make sense, but I really did try and build this to make sense, okay? You can sort of break down your journey in life as like phases, okay? And let's say that you absolutely don't know where to start. This is probably a good one. It's like, I want to do this, that, and the other. I want to do that, I want to do that, but this, and you're feeling a bit scattered, right? Okay. I'll put in here on this phases roadmap, you've got 2 weeks, right? And what I personally would do for you is I would get a good old, right? None of this stuff. Get a good old fashioned notebook and pen. Get a nice pen as well. Get a nice uni ball eye, right? Nice pen and paper, okay? Because it encourages you to write down. And you can start journaling and start writing down goals and targets with specific dates and specifically what you actually want to achieve, okay? And that will make it so much easier for if you have a scatterbrain, it will make it so much easier. So I focus on it. I don't know if anyone is in this room that is actually training for the Royal Marines, but I'm talking to a lot of young lads that are training for the Royal Marines. Write down the date that you want to be a Royal Marine. Like write down that date, and then go to the Africa and then find out the dates for it. Or like if you want to do an obstacle course race, or if you want to do a marathon, go out there on the internet and write and go and look through those events, right? Search for OCR, obstacle course race, search for Spartan, have a look where it is in the world, have a look where, you know, when it is, right? And then write down that date and then work back from there, or work forward from today to there, what you're going to do next. So I put on here, reset and rebuild, okay? This is what I would do. This is what I'd get my clients to do, right? For the first probably 1 to 2 weeks, okay? It's depending on how quickly you can do it, right? Target setting, but it's also like onboarding and setting expectations and stuff like that. And then for like a month after that is reset and rebuild, because it's like I've got to basically teach you guys what I've found is the best way to like build like genuine, true human performance, right? And it does take time, right? Yes, okay, you get some easy wins in the first 7 days, like 100%, because I know so much about sleep now that I'd be like, right, do these things with sleep. And I promise you in 7 days, you'll be like, oh my God, like I'm waking up like refreshed, good to G. Okay. And then for the rest of that month, it'll be like, this is how we're going to use the gym as a tool for you to get super strong towards your event, basically. Or if you just want to get absolutely, you know, dick skin shredded and stacked in the gym, then the gym is your only tool. But for like running, you still go to the gym. For OCR, you still go to the gym. For Royal Marines training, you still go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? So, and then after that is basically momentum. So at this point, you'll be like, sound, got all the habits locked in. Okay, where are my weaknesses, for example, for whatever event that you're training for? You'll be like, oh, actually, my weakness is just legs, and my legs are weak. Or, you know, it could be my mind. It could be your mind is weak, you know, and then that's something to work on. It's like, right, we've now, what have we won so far? What have I achieved so far? Okay, Roger, what's the next step? Or I'm going to focus on that. And then you can do that bit by bit. And then after that, it sort of becomes performance and identity. So like an identity shift is like a good one. And then after this, like life change. This is where you can go into like, oh, I don't want to be technical, but like macro cycles. You can do like yearly season planning and stuff like that. But I hope that it's kind of generic and general, but you know, there's a few lads in the room. So I just wanted to try and make it as clear as possible, really. I hope that makes sense. Anyone got any questions? All right. Okay. Again, I don't want to overload you with information, but this is what so everything is like, throughout my journey, everything I've just talked about, right? I'm like, okay, lesson learned after lesson learned, right? I've gone through like an absolute roller coaster of life, like we all have, right? You know, shit happens, this, that, and the other, or like I feel really unmotivated. Like I'm human at the end of the day. I'm not just like some superhuman robot that some people seem to think like Royal Marines are. Like I still got feelings. I still don't like being cold and wet. And sometimes I go through like 2 months where I can't be asked to do anything but sit on the sofa. But just because I've got like a little bit of discipline and I know that the reward is on the other side, like, and I know what it's like to get that reward, you just sort of power through. But this is like the blueprint for success. I've kind of hidden all the other words underneath it because I just don't want to overload you with information. But at the bottom, we've got sleep and recovery. It's so important that you guys sleep. Honestly, it boosts your testosterone. It makes your mood so much better. Like it reduces your appetite. Your physical, mental performance goes through the roof, etc., etc. That's what one of our tasks is today. And then obviously you've got movement. So like I said before, nutrition is obviously probably the third out of 3, right? Nutrition is the third least important or third most important. Basically, it comes third. This gets the bronze medal, okay? Movement is second place. Sleep and recovery is first place. I hope everyone here has learned something about that, because this is like the argument that everyone has on the internet. Well, no one really talks about sleep and recovery, but it's like nutrition this, nutrition that. Honestly, if you're just out there getting after it all the time and you eat plenty of fruit and veggies, like you can literally eat whatever you want. I've eaten whatever I want like my entire life, pretty much. Obviously don't eat like a pig all the time and still get whole foods in, but nutrition is the least important one. Just get out there and move. And then obviously in the middle, we've got stress. Stress is a big one. If you know you're stressed, there's some steps you can take towards it to reduce it, because that will improve your overall life. I'm not going to bore you with the details of that. And then state of mind, ripped straight from the Royal Marines advert, ripped straight from the Royal Marines motto, state of mind. But again, this is where discipline, habits, you know, your culture, your attitude on life sort of comes through. But anyway, and then the last one, right? This is then leading up to key point being in the email. I'll send you the email after this. It's a very, very, very small document with one action in there for you guys to do today. You can do it today, 100% do it today. And then tomorrow I'll catch up with all of you and see how you got on with it, basically. I'll either send you a text on Instagram or an email just to see if it did anything. It might not do anything, but then that's why you do it for the next 2 days, maybe even the next week, and see if it helps. But you'll get that afterwards. Well, I'm done. That took 26 minutes. I'm done. So has anyone got any questions? This is now the time. Like I've just gobbed off like 10 men. Like please do ask me any questions that you may have. If you're thinking of a question, you don't really want to ask it, honestly, chances are someone else in the room will want to ask a question as well. That same question. Anybody? No?
It's not really related to what we just did, but in Royal Marine training, what sort of things can you be doing to sort of stay ahead?
Stay ahead of what exactly?
Like fatigue and all the sleep deprivation during training.
In my personal experience, right, there's nothing you can do about sleep deprivation when you're in the field as a soldier. You just have to suck it up and get on with it. With the sleep deprivation on camp, to be honest, I probably had on average an hour extra in my pit asleep per night than the other lads, because one, I knew how important it was. Two, I was like super knackered all the time and just wanted extra sleep. And three, I was like pretty good at admin. So like admin is, for those guys that don't know, like admin is like just sorting your kit out, like sorting anything out, like, you know, doing the washing, or like sorting your kit out for the next day, or doing your best book, like, or anything like that. All of the admin, I just did it as fast as I could to the highest possible standard, so that I could get in my pit earlier, so that I could get that extra sleep, so I could recover more, so that I could then obviously be less fatigued the next day. Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Yeah, that's all right. Anything else from anyone?
What's the selection process for the Royal Marines look like in the UK?
So you go to a Armed Forces Careers office. I think they do it all online now. But 10 years ago or 11 years ago when I did it, you walk into an office and then you go, oh, I want to join the Royal Marines. And then you talk to the Royal Navy, and like some guy in the Royal Navy is in there and he's like, oh, you want to join the Marines, do you? And he's sort of like, he's like, oh, do you think you're man enough? And then you sign up, sign some paperwork. You get like a psychometric test. Like they just test you basically to see if you're, you know, like a real person. You can remember your name and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got to go through a medical. You've got to do a pre-joining fitness test, which is the bleep test. You've got to do the bleep test, press ups, sit ups, pull ups. Yeah, that was it. That's all I did for mine. And then you go to the actual like Commando Training Center of Royal Marines is what it's called, CTCRM. So you go to CTC and then you do like a short 3 or 4 day course where they absolutely like, yeah, they absolutely gun you to death. Like you do everything in those 3 days. It's like the most tiring thing. And when I did it, it was called the potential Royal Marines course. It's now called the Candidate Preparation course. But they basically, you turn up, they try and scare you away from it. They get you to do like hours and hours and hours of physical activity out in the field. And then whoever doesn't make it, obviously doesn't make it. Louis Johnson, he's one of my clients at the moment. He can talk a little bit more about that. I think this is probably a good time. Can you unmute and talk a little bit about CPC as well?
Yeah, so I did CPC recently, like a few weeks ago. Passed, thankfully, but yeah, there was like 20 of us that went down and started, and only 2 that finished. So yeah, it's tough, like Joe said, just getting like, yeah, it's a few hours of thrashing, but tough. And so that's like the final thing you do before you can actually go down to Commando Training Center, start training.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice. Chris, did that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's all right. Anyone else? Anyone want to jump in? Greg?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just talk about my experience since I've came on with Joe as well. I mean, it kind of goes in line with everything that he's been saying. I mean, obviously, overnight, you're not going to manage to change, you know, everything about you. It's a gradual build-up. I'll see if I can share my screen, Joe, because it's better getting a visual on this one, to be honest, than me trying to explain. So if we look at me, just can you guys see that?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, if you look at me, that was me just less than a year ago. So I was 105 kg before I got in touch with Joe. I can't say I was the happiest guy in the world, right? And enjoyed my food, put it that way. Had a lot of bad habits. So as I said, like overnight, that's not something that's going to change. And then obviously that's just taken a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, as I said, through Joe's coaching, it works, you know, but it's a gradual build-up, target setting, rest and rebuild, then the momentum starts, and then, you know, I started to get a bit of performance and identity. And in terms of that came with a lot of different things, you know. Couldn't even get a bird before, you know, and then obviously losing weight, getting more confidence, I was able to get in relations, just stuff like that you don't even mention in the coaching. But I would say that my life has totally done a 360 since joining, you know, and that's all down to, you know, the stuff. And Joe's not just a coach, you know, he's also someone that you can go to, you know, with many other things. You said, like, you know, counselling was good for him. That's not something that suited me personally, so I ended up doing a lot of journaling and self-reflection and built a habit tracker and stuff like that. So this sort of thing's not going to be a one-size-fits-all type of thing. He's going to take into consideration who you are and what it is that you are all about, basically, and he'll build around that. But obviously, you know, you can just see in the pictures that my life's done a 360 since starting the coaching. So thank you, Joe.
My pleasure, mate. I get a
lot of hard work from my side as well, I'll have to say. Was it all Joe?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's just a classic example of like when you apply yourself, and part of it is like falling in love with the journey as well. Like as blokes, especially if you're a high performer, like sometimes you're just never really happy with what you've currently got. You have to fall in love with the journey as well. It's not just about the destination. But yeah, there are a lot of coaches out there that do these like, yeah, one size fits all, and like I just personally don't agree with that at all. I think that's I think that's a cop out. So yeah, definitely that's not how you get the good results anyway. Has anyone else got anything? We're done. If anyone's got any questions, this is like the last chance before I'm gonna head off. Hope that made sense to everyone. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube, this recording, in case you want to watch any of it back, and then I will send you all an email with your first task. Any questions with that, just hit reply, and I will get a notification on my phone. I'll reply on my phone if you've got any questions about the next task. And then tomorrow, I may or may not do the second live call, depending on if lads want it or not. I might do it on the third day, I don't know. But basically tomorrow at the very least, I'll send you day 2's tasks and then day 3's tasks. And then just need a bit of feedback from you guys after that, to see how you got on, basically.
Nice one.
Sweet. All right, thank you very much for coming.
Nice to
Good
meet
to
you
see
guys.
you.
Guys,
Cheers.
Cheers, Joe.
All right. Catch you later. Right,
All right,
bye-bye.
cheers.
Thank you all, and thank you, Joe.